Jaynee from Messages from Heaven by Jaynee. Hopefully, you'll be able to get to this by Messages from Heaven by Jaynee, and I hope by Wise Grandmother News, if I can work it out. But right now, it's just Messages from Heaven by Jaynee. And then if you want to write to me, it's SpiritsbyJaynee at gmail.com. That will get you to me. I'm happy to answer any questions or anything like that. Um, I do readings and stuff, but if you want to write, do and do write a review or say whatever you think. Okay, this is the news. Um, it's kind of a amalgamation of the news, and it really doesn't include today. So if our great leader um, bombed something, bombed another country, or sent troops into another country, I don't know about it yet. I will, but I don't yet. Okay. What I understand is that whether it's true or not, I'm just saying what I'm hearing from I watch, I read the Inquirer, Philadelphia Inquirer, and the New York Times and BBC America. Also at night, I watch the cable news. I watch Midas Touch and another fella. I watch as much as I can. I turn them off if they're, chatting. So, but what I'm hearing is that especially when I see psychiatrists or psychologists online, they talk about Trump having dementia. Um, sorry, talking about his babbling in the middle of conferences, in the middle of press conferences, and sometimes he will just and and then go back to talking normally. They're also saying that, um, well, I've seen him. You probably have too. When he was in Japan, he was lost. The president of Japan had to go get him and bring him back to where he was supposed to be. He is getting lost, and yeah, my father had dementia, and yeah, that's one of the important signs. People do get lost, even in a place that they know. They get lost. My father had a marvelous sense of direction, and it left him. And it's it's a horrible thing, and I think seems like he has it. Um, they said they yesterday they were talking about his voice, um, that it's kind of it's different. It has changed, and the doctors were saying that it seemed to them that he had a swallowing problem. I don't know, but that's what they were saying, and that um, that can kill you or will kill you. They were saying will kill you, but that when you can't, when I remember from lupus, when I had that feeling in my throat and I couldn't get rid of it, it felt like I had food caught there or something. That really was kind of scary. It was, with lupus, you get all kinds of weird things, weird symptoms, and that was one. And I know it's not comfortable. Um, they were saying about how it's a very uncomfortable death. Truthfully, between you and me, I don't think that's true. Um, a lot of us, including me, would like him to leave the planet because he's so evil. But I don't, I think that's true. I mean, not that he won't. He's 79. I'm 78. Um, I just don't. I think he's okay. Could he die? Yeah, sure. Um, but I don't think so. I don't think yet. Is what he's doing insane? Yeah. The business with Venezuela. What is it with Venezuela? Why Venezuela? Because we can't really use the oil. It's too thick, or it doesn't, it's not clean oil. I don't know that there is clean oil, but it's a lot of work, extra work. It costs extra, and we don't really need it. So I know we used to buy it. We bought it when we couldn't really get oil from OPEC, but sorry, but then we used it for a while, and then they started, when their regime changed and they became more left, further left. We didn't buy from them anymore. Now, I don't know what Maduro is, but I think that the problem there wasn't that he was selling drugs, because apparently he wasn't, and Trump um, freed from prison one of the big drug dealers, biggest in, where was he from? Bolivia, uh, Colombia. He just did that a couple of weeks ago. So I don't. I think it was a personal thing, because he didn't kiss the ring, and I think that's why Trump uh, invaded. And the um, what they're being held for are, I think, misdemeanors. So that doesn't make any sense. So I don't really. I mean, you can't hold. I don't know. You can't hold them for drug sales if that's not something they did, because they're going to be asked to prove it. Well, I don't get why they didn't do Cuba. I mean, Cuba is right off the coast of Florida. That would have made sense. Um, it's so close to us, and was it was really being held up by Russia, and then Russia couldn't afford to do it anymore, and it's being held up by Venezuela. But if you're going in for no reason, bombing ships out of the water, out of Venezuelan water, then, I mean, well, I don't even know why we were doing that when the ships weren't actually carrying drugs. No, they weren't, because drugs don't actually come from there. They don't really have. I mean, not that they don't at all. Sure, they want to make money too, and it's very possible that they are. But we didn't know whether those ships were, well, they're little boats. They're not ships, and whether they were doing anything that had to do with drugs, or whether they were simply fishing, because we didn't investigate what is happening. We have a dictatorship. That's what's happening in the United States. And our leader is doing anything that he wants because he feels that he can. He was tried before, and he was let go by the Republicans, and that's happening again. Uh, I guess I don't know when, if ever, they're going to stop backing him. He threatens them. He threatens to primary them. I understand that some people get threats to their lives, to their children's lives. If you remember the judge who, I think he was from D.C., who recently let him go. The judge's daughter was being threatened. She was the head of one of the big drug companies, which tells you a lot. So she was having her life threatened, and of course he was too. And the judge let him, I don't know, I forget what he gave him, basically nothing, because he threatened. Anyway, I think the reason that we have now taken over Venezuela is that our dear leader didn't like something that Maduro said. Pretty sure. And if you think that's crazy, yes, it is crazy. But think about how we feel when somebody says something really nasty about us. And then think, what would you do if you were king? because he is king right now. He's the dictator. So he can investigate, he can imprison anybody he wants. He's got these people running around who were like I said, they were like the brown shirts in Nazi Germany in the beginning, like in 1933. First, Hitler had brown shirts who caused a lot of problems. They weren't shooting people; they were beating people up. I think they may have been the ones in Crystal Night, but they were beating people up and making life miserable for a lot of people. Now that the goons are shooting people, it is different. It's more like the SS in Germany, in Nazi Germany. Um, okay, Greenland. Why do you know what Greenland has to do with our national security? Because I don't. If Greenland were important to our national security, I think that Franklin Roosevelt would have perhaps done something about it, or Kennedy would have done something about it, or would have heard something about it. Kennedy would have said something because he had this whole thing with Cuba and Russia, worried that Cuba was having missiles there that were supplied by the Russians. That was such a big deal, the missile crisis, um, and nothing was ever said about Greenland. That's because it is not a national security risk. To our dear leader, everything is a national security risk. His feet are a national security risk. No. Okay. Um, Somebody suggested if they would call it Einstein Island instead of Greenland Island, he would never mention it again. I thought that was a good idea. But I think it's really just, I think the reason he's saying all this and making it into a big deal is because he wants to have us forget about Epstein. But we're not. Something just came out, which I don't believe. The, a lot of stuff is coming out, a lot of nonsense, a lot of bullshit is coming out. The not only the photographs and the emails and all that from Epstein and to and from his other clients, and you know whose involvement, but also garbage that was thrown in to throw us off. Stuff saying, the Democrats were involved, but of course they were. There, I mean, a lot of. They said that 50. They somebody, I think it was Cox Richardson, was saying yesterday that it was about 50 politicians, heads of universities, in the courts, the people, the men who were involved with Epstein. So it's really a lot, and um, releasing lies. Well, when somebody lies all the time, what do you expect? They're going to put lies in whatever they do, and he does. Um, what's her name? Giselle. It's not Giselle. I know it isn't. Heaven or whatever it is. I forget. My, you know, get old and you forget a lot of stuff. You forget names, especially. Um, did you notice what a crazy thing that was? That our dear leader sent he sent a assistant DOJ down to see her, to interview her. That's never supposed to happen because the Department of Justice is supposed to be independent. They're not supposed to be working for him. So his sending somebody down to interview her is completely out of out of nowhere. It's not supposed to happen. And if you read the interview or heard it, you knew it was ridiculous. Oh, Trump was so good. He was such a gentleman, because she wanted to get out of that prison, and she was put in a much nicer prison where she gets to pet dogs and, you know, I don't know what else. I guess just make things, do arts and crafts and stuff, which is a lot better than just sitting in her prison cell and getting beaten up too. Um, so I thought that whole thing was ridiculous and a ploy so that she would say he's a good guy and he never did anything wrong. But I mean, when he said that he bought those pageants, and when you own them, they let you go into the dressing room when the girls are naked. And we're talking about little girls, like 11, 12, 13, 14. He likes little girls, young girls. So he could walk in. Now, I heard something about his being involved with one of the kids. I have not seen or heard anything yet more about it. We'll hear more because, well, you know, he's a pederast. Or, I should say, oh, it's important for me to say this is for entertainment purposes only. It's completely my opinion, totally my opinion, nobody else's opinion. I'm not quoting anybody else, and it's just opinion. It's not reality, opinion. Okay. So, um, okay. Yeah, the goons. Um, it's very scary, and I feel terrible for the people anywhere where they have them, especially Minneapolis. Um, what happened was horrible. Um, we've seen it happen in to some degree all over the United States. We saw it happen in Minneapolis before, where what's his name, the police officer choked the guy to death a couple of years ago, and he went to prison. Um, our dear leader and the vice president do say that they have immunity. The only way that these ICE guys have, and there might be women too, the only way they have immunity is that, for instance, he is disallowing the state and the city to arrest the guy, to indict the guy. What they're doing is saying, oh, it's got to be national. It's got to be the federal judge, federal justice. There won't be any justice with the feds because he's involved and the DOJ will be involved. And he can pardon anybody. He can pardon only federal prisoners. That's it. He can't do state, and that's why he's been fighting um, what do you call it, Colorado, I think, because they won't let somebody out who's in state prison who he wants to let out, and they said no, she's guilty. Prisons do not let people out. They don't want to. It's not, if you ever get into their hands, you find out, even if you're proven innocent, they don't want to let you go. I don't know. I don't understand that, but I know that that's the way it is. Um, I think that might be it. Um, the I'm listening to the psychics, and I can't tell you that they're talking about being huge demonstrations in March and then through the summer. They're talking definitely about the demonstrations, but we know because we can see the demonstrations, and since these ICE people, goons, are coming to our cities, and he's threatening to have just about martial law in Minneapolis. Uh, of course, there'll be demonstrations. People don't want it. It's you know, it's bad enough in the cities, um, and good enough. I mean, I come from Philadelphia, and I like Philadelphia. Um, it's not a horrible by any means, and um, one of my children lives in Philadelphia. One of my grandchildren walks around there. I mean, there's so much to do, and she loves it. She goes to school there. Um, my son went to a wonderful school in Philadelphia. It's just, you know, he's well. Eventually, what's going to happen since he has destroyed our government? It's going to be rebuilt when he leaves. In any way, it will be rebuilt gradually. It's going to take a long time. Um, in my opinion, I think it's going to take about 20 years to get everything right. Um, thank God he wasn't able to take away women's right to vote. That hasn't happened, and it's something that what's his name, Stephen Miller. Ugh, talk about a Nazi. Ooh, okay. Um, so nobody is predicting you know who to leave right away, or even in the summer. I think what's his name? The guy on Sunday who I think and he's really good. I think that he doesn't think that you know who is going to make it to the um, November, that he will make it to then. So I heard him say that on Sunday, and that's all that I know. Everybody's been predicting him to drop dead, but he hasn't. So that's it. Thank you for watching. Thank you so much for being here. I really appreciate it. And again, it's just my opinion. It's for entertainment purposes. Um, please sign up, be on my whatever you call it audience, and let me know what you think. Um, my faulty memory thanks you, and my good memory thanks you. Okay, take care. Have a lovely weekend. Um, yeah, and if you have grandchildren, give them kisses. One of mine has a party tomorrow. Thank you. Have a good night. Let me see if it's going. It's going. This is a wig. I can't stand my hair being the way it is, flat. Get old and you, some things are a drag. That's a drag. Can't get it. What it's doing? Don't do that. You know, I'm supposed to top. All right, top fans. There it goes.